Today's video is all about Lumia, the only full-cycle real-world asset chain. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive into this project, looking into some of the fundamentals, looking into the team, the tokenomics, the utility, and the overall value proposition, trying to figure out whether this project has what it takes to make it to our portfolio. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunity. And the question is Lumia an opportunity? Guys, today we're going to be doing a deep dive, looking into this project from a retail investor perspective. We're going to be checking if the team has given us all the bullish criteria in order for us to pile in onto this project. Of course, a lot of us are looking for opportunities in this market, given that the market is giving us another chance to DCA at lower levels. Lumia coming in hot with a really good overall narrative. Real world asset narrative is a very hot one in the last little while. A lot of people keeping an eye on it, given that it has a lot of utility, a lot of possibility for the future and tokenizing real world assets, of course. And we're going to be taking a very, very critical approach, looking at the website as our main platform to see, again, if all of what we need is readily available. All right, guys, obviously, do your own research. We're going to be just kind of scraping through all of this and seeing what is provided here. As we scrape through the website, we can see that, it's fairly engaging here. It's very nice visuals and all that, which is great. And as we keep on scrolling down, we continue with the visuals, bridging billions of dollars of liquidity to the $10 trillion real-world asset sector. Okay, Lumia is the first next-gen blockchain that provides comprehensive infrastructure across the entire life cycle of real-world assets. So what we really have to understand is a lot of these blockchains, these newer blockchains that are coming out, are specializing, which makes a lot of sense. We don't want a jack of all trades that does everything somewhat well. We want a blockchain that is tailored for a specific use case. Obviously, increasing utility, increasing the possibility of success, all of that's pretty good. Obviously, this is something that we have to consider, and we're seeing a lot of this trend across the entire crypto space as well. And given that the real world asset narrative is a hot one, it is not a bad idea to see a whole new blockchain. It's an L2, it's a layer 2 on Ethereum, come out with its own use case, its own application towards the real world asset narrative, which is good. From assets tokenization to connectivity and millions of traders in DeFi and Web3. Okay, so let's keep on going down. Let's see what we got. Forming the complete real world asset chain, RWA chain. While several projects are also addressing the tokenization of real world assets, Lumia is the first to focus on the step after the asset tokenization, bringing these assets to millions of users in DeFi and providing full cycle solution for real world assets. This is important because we know that the DeFi space is the backbone of right now of Web3. That without DeFi, doesn't look good, right? We need DeFi. We need to be able to connect users with liquidity, connect users with value and assets and things like that. And of course, not only do we need it with coins and tokens, but also with the tokenization of assets, whether they be digital assets or non-digital assets. In this case, real-world assets, right? So of course, connecting individuals to a marketplace is the one of the major value propositions in DeFi, of course. So this is great. This is a good step in the right direction. Now we get into this part of the website where it gets a little clunky for me, based on my experience. Full width websites are a little bit off because the way they fit on the screen is not the greatest. And then not only that, as you scroll, it kind of gets a little bit too overlapped here. And it becomes hard to read. But all good. I think simplification of the website is definitely better. The first to connect real world assets with real users. We talked about that. The centralized exchange, the decentralized exchange, the aggregators and others, right? This is what they're trying to do, is bring that liquidity to everybody, and basically it combines its tokenized assets with liquidity across all these various outlets. Okay, so that's what we just talked about. Infrastructure built for the growing industry, the real world asset industry. Again, a bit of repetition competition. Of course, it is growing. Luxury assets, whether it be commodities, real estate, whatever it is that you're looking at, tokenization of these assets is what they're trying to provide as a software solution. Okay, so this is good. And let's keep on scrolling down if we can get this going good. Welcome to Web3, Wall Street, and Main Street. So basically, again, a marketplace, a place where to be able to trade and gain access to various assets. Everyone sees the bright future of real-world assets. Lumia leverages account abstraction and intense technology to simplify blockchain transactions. Okay, we get it. We're trying to bring this to the mainstream. Institutional safety and security and compliance. Okay, this is important. What I'm a little bit worried about is the word compliance. What does that really mean? To comply. Lumia protects users' privacy. Okay, check. And data with a decentralized Polygon ID. Okay, so we're talking getting into a little bit of their tech stack, but that's cool. We get, the ability to have an online or Web3 persona or identity to ensure safety and privacy as well, ensuring secure identity verification. This is also something that the general market is trying to provide a solution for, because we go online and we transact in the Web3 space. Sometimes, it is within our interest to provide some verification of who we are, right, without giving away our identity, if you get what I mean. So this is where the ZK kind of comes into play, allowing optional full-scale KYC for institutions. Again, this is a little bit of that area of where KYC in traditional formats, is kind of frowned upon in Web3. But again, I'm full on for verification, but in a zero knowledge proof kind of way, not in a full KYC, giving up your identity type of thing. So this is where the compliance measures for me kind of get blurred, and I would like to know more. I'll deal for the incoming real world asset industry. Okay, so this is a little bit of an interesting topic for me personally, as an investor, as a trader. You guys gotta figure out what you think about KYC, know your customer standards in Web3. I'm not really on it, but with the Polygon ID, standard, it might be something where we could still provide a bit of that verification of who we are, but still keep ourselves private. Spot on. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, let's keep on going down. Most decentralized real world asset infrastructure. Okay, we obviously want decentralization, so we have a Lumia's Data Availability Committee, the DAC. Nodes. So they have nodes, enhancing network performance and decentralization, future proofing transactions, and delivering faster, smoother interactions. So they have a node network that secures the network, and they get rewarded. Okay, so this is going to come into the tokenomics very soon as we take a look at how tokens or coins are entering the space and so on, the token distribution. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's kind of go through the last point here, staking yields for DeFi and real world assets. So be able to earn passively by staking liquidity, whether it be a yield farming, traditional digital assets and real world assets. So basically adding a layer of possibility of being able to stake the real world assets and earn passively off of those assets. Again, this is good. This is a full one-stop shop real world asset platform as an L2. Okay, so good stuff here so far. Let's see if we can get this website going down. All right, so a little bit of their airdrop, season 1 airdrop details coming soon. I'm not sure what's going on there and when that's happening. That's cool. The website is well built, very nice. I just would have liked this part maybe simplified a little bit and seamless, but the rest of it is great. The roadmap is doing good right here, right in front and center. Like, they have nothing to hide, and very proud of their progress and where they are going next. I feel like they're going to need a bit of an update very soon, because we can see that we're in Q1 of 2025, aggregated a native yield restaking for real world assets, and then we're going to integrate with a Polygon Aglair, Passport, Maiden, and this is part of their tech stack, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're not going to get too technical here, but it definitely adds value to their fundamentals, so we'll touch upon it a little bit. AI yield management via ZKML for optimized real world asset opportunities. So this is where they are right now, second quarter of 2025. We have to understand that, you know, time flies in this space, and ultimately they got to keep up with it. So far so good. Lots of, at least they got some dates and timing of where we could expect, you know, Lumia to be going in the next little while with some clear objectives. So spot on there. Just we got to keep on going with that. Now we're talking about core contributors. Now it's the founders and some talented individuals here. I dabbled into some of them, and we'll talk about that in a second. At least I can say right off the bat, they are doxed. You can see that LinkedIn, names, faces, and if you want to do research on what they bring to the table, their you know, their experience and their education and their work history and what they've brought to the Web3 space and what they could potentially be bringing to Lumia from those experiences, guys, go do that research, and we're going to touch upon it a little bit here today. A big team, lots of talent, and like I said, we're going to get into that. Partners, you guys know I like rewording partners, quote unquote partners, as relationships, because we start looking at some of these logos here, and I'm very critical on these because, to be honest, a lot of newcomers to this space start seeing big brands, and lucky to say that not many big brands are here right now, meaning external brands. We have a lot of crypto-based brands, of course, but we got to start asking ourselves, you know, these right here, you know, Laser Digital Group, DWF Labs, VCs, venture capitalists, you know, funders. This is possible. This is likely. This is where, you know, they get a lot of their capital. So obviously understand that a project, whether they are fair launch or not, you know, it does, you know, require a little bit of capital to get the projects off their feet. And I understand a well-balanced organization needs a bit of capital upfronted. So we have to understand that VCs, to a degree, are very healthy, especially when it comes to marketing dollars, especially when expecting, you know, the project to do well when the market conditions are very competitive, like in a bull run. Okay, so keep that in mind. Polygon, is that a partner? Let's be real. Okay, let's be real. It's great that they have their tech stack. It's great that that's the case. And is it a partnership, or are they just using their tech stack? I am very, you know, critical about that. I would say it would be a decent relationship, no doubt, borderline partnership, sure. But the fact that maybe, you know, they're using their Polygon chain may not be the case. This is an open chain for anybody to use. The same with Base and Lumia. Uniswap is a DEX. You know, Metis, another chain. OKX, another DEX or exchange. Near Protocol, another L1. You know, Zero Storage. And this is where I'm going with this, is that a lot of these logos are L1s and different projects that, you know, maybe they are planning to cross-chain and provide liquidity on those different chains. Do they necessarily make them partners? I would say that they have great relationships due to their integration. Look at 1inch, an aggregator, right? And this is, you know, a great thing, but lots of projects are listed on 1inch, and lots of projects are on BNB chain and Arbitrum and QuickSwap and so on and so forth. So what are exclusive you know, strategic partnerships here is very difficult to highlight. Now, I do see a Coinbase logo, but I couldn't see the fact that they are listed on Coinbase. And that's a little bit vague. I am not a Coinbase trader, and I don't see it on the aggregators that they are listed on Coinbase, but I do see a relationship here. Could this be something that's happening in the future? Could this be something that is actually, you know, around the corner? This is something that, again, logos for me are not enough. Are these clickable? Okay, we quickly go to the top. That's not really what I expected. Sorry, guys. Let's see if we can get ourselves right back where we came from. So I'm assuming that if I keep on clicking on these logos, we're going to get boosted all the way back to the top. I am not going to do that to you. So let's keep on going down. What people are saying about Lumia, okay, some good, but you can understand, look at the logos of who they are, you know, like, are they, you know, random people, 1inch? If they're partners like they claim they are, then it's not really the best, you know, type of, you know, it's a little bit biased, let's put it that way, but still good stuff. Positivity is always positivity. Okay, so that concludes the website. You can see that it's very simple, but I think some of the design, you know, decisions could be a little bit better. That whole slideshow in the middle there is just a little bit too cumbersome, but all that is fine. Now, if we keep on looking, we have products. I feel like I should open these up in a new tab. We have some docs, which I have already. I just want to quickly do that. Contact, blog, I have that open, but let's do that as well. And let's see, we got a Telegram, we got X, we got Discord, and we got the Git book, which is part of the docs. Okay, so I got a few tabs open. I'm assuming that there's going to be some repetition with some of these tabs, so bear with me. We're trying to do this deep dive semi-live here because I am prepared, but I like clicking around while I'm live with you guys anyway, or recording this anyway. Okay, so let's go full cycle. What's this? Is this what we just went through? Yeah, this is what we went through already. So not that one of those links, just a repetition. This is the doc. So docs, I have this already open, and this is, let me just quickly put this here because I'm going to go and revisit this when we talk about the marketing. All right, so what is Lumia and Lumia chain? And I got this already open, so let's stick with the one that I just opened here. You can see what is Lumia chain. Lumia is the first next gen ultra capital efficient hyper liquid. This is a mouthful, guys. ZK EVM. So right away, Ethereum based, obviously as a layer 2. It's gonna be EVM compatible. That's good because again, big ecosystem, attracting liquidity, utilizing cutting edge tech stack. So this is the tech stack. This is what we're, again, guys, this is a lot. Okay, so I'm just gonna quickly just hit Polygon CDK. Avail DA. Again, do the research, guys. If you want to dig in deeper into exactly what all these little intricate parts do to the chain from a tech perspective, guys, feel free to go and do that extra research, right? But what I'm trying to do here is a full-on broad or deep dive where we're going to get into a Web3 or a crypto project deep dive, not necessarily a tech deep dive, right? From a technical standpoint. So private DAC, Polygon, Aglair, Volute, custom AVS, chain abstraction, and so on. There's a lot. Thanks to co-development efforts between Gate FM and Lumia Tech team, that maybe that's the partnership, right? Maybe that's a great partnership. They're working together on something to build something greater, and both parts are working together. That is a real good sign of partnership. So tech stack is great, but if they're using the tech stack, obviously implementation is key, right? Lumia will boast its own custom redundancy data availability committee, its own liquidity network via Lumia Stream, decentralized sequencers, decentralized ZK providers, fast finality, and validity proofs for a secure and decentralized Web3 experience. Okay, so this is basically what we're talking about here. It's a full-on layer 2 with all these characteristics and features. Okay, so the good news is this: if you want to know more about their tech stack, they got a little bit here to kind of get into it. What it all is. The Polygon CDK brings a host of features that will significantly benefit development and scaling of Lumia L2. Okay, so read into it. What is it actually going to provide? Are you bullish? Do you like that? Is this something that you value for an L2, right? Of course, having modularity and sovereignty, independent data availability, interoperability. This is forthcoming. This is exactly what a lot of L2s, L1s, or new blockchains are looking for, because that means that, a particular project, an L1 or L2, or a blockchain can tap into liquidity from other blockchains. And this is not only from a liquidity standpoint, but from a convenience, frictionless scenario, it definitely improves the network effect, right? So near instant finality, extensive Web3 support with the Polygon CDK, because we know that Polygon's tech stack is well established. Okay, maybe Polygon as a project in the last little while has simmered down a little bit, but in the last cycle, we saw Polygon pretty much lead the way for the L2 and provide a lot of utility for the EVM L2 narrative. Okay, so that's a pretty good. And then we go Aglair. There's again more tech here addressing the scalability challenge in blockchains, goes beyond individual chain performance. So they're focusing on scalability, so seamless contact any ZK enabled L2 or L1 chain for near instant cross-chain transactions. This is what this does. Okay, so great stuff. Miden is the empowering privacy. This is probably the main value proposition here. And high throughput applications. Miden cutting edge zero knowledge rollup is revolutionizing the blockchain landscape by enabling high throughput private applications. This is where a lot of people, this is where things are, I think, might have a great transition from fully open, transparent blockchains, which are great. But do we want to have all our private transactions open to the public to see exactly what we're transacting on a daily basis, like what you're buying, where you're going, and this and that. So ultimately, there is a level of privacy that a lot of these blockchains are going to be integrating in the next little while for mass adoption from the regular person, right? For microtransactions, for example, like, you know, so this is obviously something that we're slowly getting into. Why? Because regulation has lightened up in the last little while. We've seen that, you know, privacy projects in the past has totally, you know, went against their intention, and a lot of exchanges delisted them and didn't appreciate what privacy was offering the general public. But since then, a lot of changes has been made with regards to regulation and so on. So I can see the privacy narrative coming back and coming back strong, given the fact that the regular everyday person wants a better privacy, no doubt. So privacy accounts, the mining operator only tracks a commitment to the account data in the public database, ensuring user privacy. This is what I think the major value proposition here is with this part of the tech stack, and the passport, which is the identity, empowering secure and privacy-centric relationships between apps and user. So the ability for a user to provide identification to an application while still not giving them your actual identity. Okay, so this is a safety thing, right? So again, a zero knowledge proof type of thing. Guys, read into it. It's great. This is the way it should be online. We don't want to give up our identity. We know that identity theft and all of that is a big part of the way criminals operate, and still being able to provide a software solution for that scenario is definitely good. I can see a lot of people admiring that. Now we're talking about real world assets, and we're talking about privacy. We're talking about identity, and of course these things are necessary to prove that, you know, this particular asset is yours. A building, a car, whatever it is, whatever real world asset we're talking about, it's still a kind of like we want to be able to identify the fact that we own those particular assets on chain, right? So this is a full stack type of scenario that, you know, provides a one-stop shop solution for real assets on chain. Good stuff. I appreciate. Okay, so again, tech perspective, go check it out. Preserving privacy, ID. Good stuff there. Okay, let's move on. We got Lumia, the overall token. This is where I like to spend a little bit more time. Why? Because, of course, this deep dive is all about Lumia, the token, Lumia, the project, as far as a crypto project. And this is super important because we start looking at its architecture. You can definitely read into this. I don't want to get into too much detail, but we've talked about the Polygon tech stack and all the additional levels and layers of features that the other, you know, additional things, let's call them quote unquote things from different aspects, from layer zero and so on, provided Lumia, you know, from a L2 perspective. But the token itself is next level. Okay, so let's talk about that. Okay, so Lumia has a history, and I think this is where a lot of what I'm going to be saying today with this deep dive is going to help a lot of individuals, because when we come through a history, a lot of the times the history obviously stops, right? It doesn't get supported anymore, it doesn't get explained, so we're relying on old information. But not only that, we're trying to move forward and provide new information and just kind of move forward and see where we're going with this, right? So it's like that transition from old to new that kind of leaves a lot of gray and uncertainty, right? So I'm going to try my best to kind of make this as clear as possible, because to be honest, it's actually a clean transition from Orn, which was the original project, okay, to Lumia, which is the current project, okay? So basically there was a token swap. If you were an Orn holder, you were given a 1-to-1 ratio. 1 Orn was equal to 1 Lumia, okay? So from there, they deployed their Lumia L2 ecosystem, which is still in the works. It's still being, you know, created. Okay, and now this L2, this Lumia project, it wants to be the leading chain for real-world assets and decentralized finance. That's their main focus now. Okay, so which is great, very clear, straightforward. For each ORN, okay, a token burned, holders will receive 1 Lumia. So they're burning all the ORN tokens and giving everybody 1 Lumia token. That's exactly how that's working. All current owned token to all current ORN token holders. Good stuff. So if you hold or you held ORN on an exchange, they should have already did the swap for you. Okay, why they're transitioning to Lumia. Okay, this is obviously very clear. They want to basically get into the real world asset game. I'm not going to get into more detail there. Lumia token utility. Okay, so this is where, again, deep dive stuff comes into play from a Web3 perspective. What is it for? Why do we need this token? Are they just, do they have a business in the background and just slapping a token on it? I would say no, absolutely not. Lumia's token utility is good. A native gas token, so of course to run the network, Lumia L2 network, ensuring efficient and effective operations. The chain itself inherits EIP, so pretty good use case so far. You can see it just runs the gas fees, and as an L2 it reduces the gas fees significantly, and this is part of the value proposition of many L2s, so that's good. Governance, massive for me. This is important because we're starting to decentralize not only the token itself, because we're going to talk about the token in a second in a bit more detail, but what about the organization, how it runs? Like projects raise liquidity via tokenization, right? And a lot of the times even via VCs obviously buy those initial tokens and they receive tokens and so on. But what we have to understand is that with governance, it also decentralized the decision making. So Lumia token holders will have the power to participate in certain, this is where things get a little bit iffy, certain decision-making process for Lumia software platform only, okay? Voting on key protocol upgrades and parameter changes by locking up Lumia tokens. Users can obtain via Lumia. So this is like the vote escrow Lumia, which allows expanded participation and can award potential reward boosters. Okay, so basically there's a DAO, okay? And like all DAOs, there are boundaries as to what can be voted on, and as of now, some certain decision-making processes pertaining to the software platform only. Now, we have to understand that a lot of the cases they have the governance also has, a pool of capital as well, right? A reserve or some sort of foundation fund or something like that, where ultimately they can, put up for grabs for the DAO to vote on and decide where that capital gets deployed, whether it be ecosystem growth, whether it be to the, whatever objectives they may have, even listing, exchange listings and so on. So we'll talk about this in a second, because you'll realize based on their tokenization or their token distribution and their emission, basically their tokenomics, really there is no sense for governance to be holding or to be in charge of any particular tokens. Okay, so we'll get into that a second. Node staking, Lumia will be used for staking in network nodes, of course, earn passive income, contribute the network security, and earn rewards. This is very typical. Liquidity provisions, Lumia tokens can be a source of course be used in liquidity pools. Of course, this is very typical, again, being rewarded to provide liquidity to the pools. Okay, let's move on. Access to premium features. This is where things are a little bit vague. Like, what kind of premium features are we talking about? Or reduced fees, okay, could be possible as one of the features on the Lumia network, as well as future partners and ecosystem airdrops. Okay, so maybe they want to keep it open for all the little possibilities that could come around the corner, whether it be marketing and community rewards and things like that. Fine, but maybe a bit more concrete would be good. I'm just being picky here because so far everything's pretty clear. Okay, so far we get it. What is the token for? Gas, governance, staking, liquidity, and obtaining features as a member of a token holder. Perfect. Okay, that's fine. Ecosystem, the importance of Lumia. And you guys know that I appreciate ecosystem, because without a strong ecosystem, what's the use of a token or a coin in general, right? So a coin needs to have an ecosystem so that they can use the coin as gas, to raise more liquidity and so on. So align incentives by serving both gas, we know that, okay, and general utility, economic security. We talked about node staking, ecosystem growth. This is a big focus of mine as a deep diver, as an individual that's in the space, I understand the value of ecosystem growth because it brings more utility to a chain, and the more utility the chain has, the more of a reason people want to accumulate to Lumia. So it encourages long-term holding and active participation in the ecosystem. For me, that's huge. This is where all L1s, L2s should be focusing on, is their ecosystem growth. And that's what Ethereum has done so well. And that's why Ethereum, at the end of the day, despite their gas fees, people still linger around. I know lately Ethereum has been under fire, but you got to admit, Ethereum's network is massive and strong. Okay, so real world asset integration, Lumia will indirectly play a crucial role in the future integrations and trading of tokenized real world assets. We talked about this. Interoperability, we didn't talk about this much, but because the token is EVM, okay, it allows the token to be cross-chain, and basically, cross-chain operations and liquidity provisions will be easy to basically absorb liquidity from other chains, and that's a good thing. That's only one of the value propositions of interoperability, but I feel like definitely this is what they may want. People to kind of say, you know what, I'm going to easily get onto Lumia, and because it's cross-chain and EVM compatible. Okay, so let's move on. This is where things get a little bit gray, and it needs a bit of an explanation. Current or total supply. So it's not the current. There's no more. They've been burnt, and now Lumia's in play at the current moment right now. So what we have to understand is that when they transitioned to Lumia, they had this amount, okay, 92 million tokens and change, and then a new Lumia token supply. This is what the token supply ended up being, and then you ask yourself, well, then there's way more. Yes, token supply increase. So they increased the token supply to this amount. So basically, total now is this. It increased by this. So there's 238 million and change Lumia tokens as a max supply now. And the reason for increasing the max supply, you got to think about now, they are looking to basically provide a bigger service, a bigger ecosystem, and because of that, they want more access to many more people. And because of that, they justify the token supply, right? The more tokens, the more least barrier to entries there are to obtain these tokens. So this is probably their main reason. First, the node operators are essential for decentralizing Lumia, and of course, they need liquidity and so on, and their efforts. They need to get paid for those efforts. And the good news is that although they increase the token supply, it doesn't mean that they're going to be dumped on the market. We have to understand they're going to be in terms of rewards. So these new token supply is vested over 20 years. So there's a vesting schedule that's going to regulate these new tokens as they get in. There's not going to be dumped on the market automatically, obviously. So we're going to take a look at their vesting schedule because they do have it below. Okay, so we'll continue going down. Building the ecosystem, of course, liquidity, node operation, sustainable gas fees. A little bit of repetition on this, I'll be honest. Governance and staking, cross-chain, again, long-term sustainability, and we're repeating ourselves a lot. Now, this is where things get interesting again, right? We have 73 million Lumias right here. 50% of the tokens, because if you do this math, it equals this number right here. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to connect some dots. It equals the new increase of supply. So you're asking yourself, where are these tokens going? Where are they going to go? That's what your main concern is now, because you're running the risk of dilution because of the increase in supply. Okay, so now we're going to try to make sense of that increase of supply, and this is all the way down here, unfortunately. So we can see that it's going to be cut into half, more or less. Okay, 50-50. Rewards for node operators, validators and sequencers, delegators, and more vested over 20 years. So slow and steady emissions of these tokens. And not only that, we have to understand that there's a direct relationship between the emissions and the rewards versus the success of the Lumia chain. So you only get rewarded when the Lumia chain is active and it's doing well, and there's ecosystem growth and there's utility. So basically, it's like getting a a rate of success, right? So we want rewards for node holders as long as the chain is successful. And this for me is totally fine. You know, people that are securing the network and providing liquidity and doing their things, they deserve rewards, okay? And then we have another 50% community initiative, including airdrops, grants, liquidity mining, and more. So this is just a little bit more vague and a little bit more marketing for community and getting the community all involved. Democratic approach to many initiatives via governance vote by Lumia token holders. So this is what I was explaining before by the DAO, and how sometimes the DAO does have a pool of liquidity or a pool of tokens that they're going to be used or can be voted on how they're going to be used. So again, community initiatives, including airdrops, grants, liquidity mining, and more. Basically, a democratic approach to many initiatives via the governance vote of Lumia token holders, vested over 10 years. So it's what I'm reading here is that the DAO or basically these tokens, as they get released over the next 10 years, basically it's going to run through governance. It's the DAO that's going to basically vote on how they get spent. For me, that's fine. That's fine because not only is it 10 years, but it's a decentralized way of basically spending this capital, which for me is fine. We need to make sure that we understand that projects need liquidity to be successful. You have to think it as a business. You need money to make money, and this is their way of slowly receiving some money, some capital, in order to grease the wheels of the Lumia chain. That's what they basically want to get going. And then on-chain transparency, you can see that there's wallet addresses, which is great. I feel that there could be a little bit more. Again, I'm being picky here, guys, because I went on their Explorer and I was looking at some of the top wallets, which I'll share with you in a second. And there's some big top wallets, and unfortunately, they don't have them listed here. And it would be great for transparency to list out what those wallets are. Because my first question is, for example, let's do that right now. For example, what is this, right? Like, you're looking at a bunch of tokens being held in this wallet, and no one would know that this is the Binance liquidity provisions that is provided to Binance. And of course, Binance needs liquidity, and this is it, right? A bunch of them. Now, we can see some of them that are kind of like listed here as the ZK bridge and the hype native, and you can see they're locked up in contract. But what about the rest of these, right? So I know it's work. I get it. It would be work for the team to kind of like populate this document with more of them and explain the top 10 wallet holders and what they are and who they belong to. But guess what, guys? For full transparency, it would be very useful for an individual such as myself to go on there and see exactly what those wallets are and who they are. I understand that a lot of people nowadays have a bit of PTSD on rug pulls and all of that. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying this is unnecessary research, and that needs to be done. It's very easy for the team to just provide extra transparency here. On-chain forensics is not for the regular retail investor. So I'm gonna draw my line there and say, look, if you want us to feel comfortable with some of these wallets holding so many tokens, okay, just to kind of show you again, you should provide some transparency as who these are and where they belong to. And based on some of the numbers, I can imagine their liquidity pools for exchanges and indexes and things like that. Okay, so keep that in mind. I'm not going to go through all of that. Again, if you want to go get through each one, go on their Discord and see if they can give you some of the. I know that few of them are belong to exchanges, so I'm not too worried about that either. And then their emissions, you can see that we have current, again, post-token swap circulating supply, and then we're talking about how those tokens are going to be basically emitted into circulation. You can see little by little, it's going to take 40 quarters, which is, again, 80 quarters in total. That's a long time. We're talking about 20 years worth of emissions, guys. There's no real fear here of dilution over time. And not only is it a lot of the tokens being released via rewards, and not only is it via a lot of 50% via a DAO, which is again voted on and should be very, very democratic process, of course, but it's going to take a long time, guys. It's not going to happen all at once. So that's very healthy, and I appreciate that. And you can see they get into a lot of the details regarding the node emissions, community emissions, and total earnings. You can see how that works over the extents of all those unlocks over time. So the emission schedule reflects the amount of tokens that are available for utilization. However, this does not mean that the tokens are enter circulation. Okay, I can understand what they're saying here, but I would say like there's a 50-50 truth here, because the reality is once they are mined and they're out there, they're in a wallet of some sort. Actual circulating supply consists of node rewards that are not locked, but still okay, as long as they're locked in a multi-sig and they're locked in a secure place, without being, with the risk of being exploited or anything like that, we're definitely good. And as long as the DAO, the votes are democratic and everything, we can rest assured that for the most part they will not enter circulation until they are meant to be. And this is what we have to have a bit of, let's put it, quote unquote, faith that these parameters respect the arguments that we provide. Okay, so that's about it. Let's move on. Conclusion: the transition from Orn to Lumia marks a significant milestone in the project's journey. Of course, guys, it seems like a big leap. Not only did they introduce more tokens, they did it in a very responsible way, in a very good way. And they're focusing on a very, very hot narrative, to the point that we see major players, not only politically, but also traditional economy-wise, are focusing on this narrative. I think that is a good move. Okay, so let's continue moving on. That was pretty thorough. I think that we did that pretty detailed. I'm very comfortable there. If you want to look at token swap guides, they got a swapper. They got all kinds of stuff already ready to go. They got utility. They got ecosystem. They got a lot of things happening. But I still feel like there's a lot more that needs to be coming out. Okay, just expect a lot more to be coming out in the next little while. Their swap, their transition to Lumia is fairly fresh still, and we're expecting a lot of building happening in the next little while here on Lumia. Okay, especially that people are interested in the narrative. I can expect a lot of pressure there. So that's that. Let's take a look at some of their marketing efforts here. We have a Medium page, and then we also have an Orion page, which I was able to get linked from, I think it was CoinMarketCap. Or, by the way, if you're looking for actual proper tokenomics, it's CoinMarketCap that is the valid one. CoinGecko seems to be outdated, and I did get validity. I did get this thumbs up from a member on the Discord, a team member or a community member on the Discord, that the CoinMarketCap numbers are actually valid. The CoinGecko ones are lagging behind, or something's wrong with them. Okay, so keep in mind their Discord is very, very useful. There's an individual there, part of the team, that he's there ready to go, answering tons of questions, which for me is a bonus. It's amazing. It's great to see that there's committed individuals ready to address people's concerns and provide clarity, and that's great. I see that they have a Medium page, and I usually look here because a lot of websites or a lot of teams rely on Medium pages to keep their audience or their members up to date with things, almost like a roadmap. I don't think that that's a valid way of doing it, but as long as they keep up with it, you can see 1 day ago, 5 days ago, February 1st, January 31st, they're keeping up with the blog. And I could say that a lot of teams do not. They come up with the bright idea of having a blog on Medium, and they abandon it after a while, and it's like no post for like a year, and that's unfortunate. I rather than make the decision not to have a Medium blog and than to have one that is outdated. So I'm glad to see that they're keeping up to what's going on with the weekly recap, almost like keeping you up to date with the roadmap. So it's not in a substitution to the roadmap, but in fact it's an addition to the roadmap. What would be pretty cool is to see their roadmap on their website, link to particular pages on the Medium page, or maybe even still have an in-house blog right on their website. And I'm sure their dev would know how to link their private blog with their Medium blog and make a link between the two, and would just bring traffic to their actual website rather than just to Medium, which of course this is about SEO and other things. Okay, so let's move on. Orion page, maybe they should take it down. They only have 44 followers. I don't know if this is necessary. It might provide confusion like it did for me. So that's that. Let's get rid of that. And then you go to their X accounts. Not bad. They're doing pretty good here. They have they have about 1,800. They're following 1,800 people. They have 500,000 followers, guys. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I really do appreciate that. They've been putting a lot of effort in their marketing, and what I like the best is that, you know, you can pretty much find everything that is hot right now with the project pinned right here. So they got introducing Lumia Towers, the first ever crypto real estate development with no one but two skyscrapers, and best part, they are being tokenized. Okay, so that's crazy. That's good stuff. Like, to actually see an actual use case, an actual implementation, an example of how Lumia plans to tokenize an actual asset. So for me, this is great. This is great, and it's pinned, obviously. And if you keep on going down, they're very active with some of their most current updates. You know, 5 hours ago, Polygon, CDK. This is things that we just read about just right now on the website. So this is not like outdated. They're keeping up with things, right? Real Alpha ecosystem. Again, Real World Asset Chain weekly recap. They're active. They're going at it, guys. Their marketing team is doing a great job. So kudos to them. They're keeping up with everything. Their Medium page, their Discord is live. They also have a Telegram. I didn't really get active on the Telegram personally. I prefer Discord, but their Telegram is active and is there, and there's individuals on there. So go check it out. So far, so good. I have nothing else to say. Now, again, I'm being pretty picky on some of the things that I said, because so far Lumia's on point. Let's continue down. Let's see what's going on with the team. The team, this is their main LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn, guys. I think that would be an industry standard if you wanted to know about someone's career, their educational pathways, their experience, and so on. So we can see there's 24 associated members to the Lumia team. There could be more, but these are the ones that are linked up here on LinkedIn. And you can see there's some talent, of course. Chief Business Development Officer, XBNB Chain. Okay, co-founder, advocate. We can take a look at in this individual. We got a CPO with strong background in finance and web. I'm assuming 3. That's pretty good. We have a CMO, product marketer in web gaming. So that's pretty good. He's doing a good job if that's the dude that's behind the marketing right now. We got Web3 building network synergies. We got builder, entrepreneur. This is, I think, that the founder, one of the founders, yeah, right now CEO, if I'm not mistaken. He's the top dog pretty much. And there's a couple others that are there with him. There's a lot here, guys. Web3 CPO, DeFi expert, a Solidity developer. We know how important that is. Of course, EVM compatible to know the blockchain. You know how many projects I do deep dives on, and there's no one that specializes in Web3 and blockchain itself. To have a full stack developer on board is so valuable, and a lot of people don't find that valuable, unfortunately. A lot of projects, and I find that to be very unfortunate. And that usually comes from projects that are not natively Web3 or blockchain. You know, they're Web 2 projects that come into Web3 and think that it's not important to have that type of talent on board. So I'm glad to see that they recognize the importance of having true visionary tech enthusiasts. XBNB chain, non-fungible thinking, okay, Web3 vision, realities, DeFi architect. Interesting, guys. Core contributor to Lumia. I think he's one of the heavyweights of the team, and so on and so forth. Guys, dig deep. I'm gonna just quickly scrape through some of these guys. He is the chief right now. He's one of the head guys there. Co-founder, of course, Lumia full-time. Orion, obviously he's part of that. Limited partner, Dominance Ventures. Okay, so he's got some education, a bachelor degree in finance and so on. Okay, let's move on. We got this dude right here. I don't see much information about his expertise or his background, but he's got a bachelor's degree in economics and Avalanche and obviously Orion team member for a good while, director of communications and so on. I feel like that's where he started, and so far that's where he's still continuing there. So good on him if he's part of the communications effort on the marketing side of things, because that's great that they're doing a good job. And then you keep on going. Co-founder, investor, Wilson Davids. Okay, Davis is definitely experienced. He's got some interesting stuff here, because as you scroll down, you see ecosystem growth. For me, that's massive. And then you go down to chief operating officer officer of Paribus. Guys, if you know who that is, another blockchain, another crypto project, go check it out. I think it might give you an idea of what this individual is all about. Oblivion Labs and Merrill Lynch. Guys, this is big. Mutual funds and economics, basically traditional finance, and then Princeton University and University of North Florida. Guys, you know, this is some talented people. This is good. These are people that you would want, right? We look at this. We got a DeFi architect crafting the future of finance. And as we scroll down, you can see chief blockchain architect. This is bullish for me because there's so many projects I see, like I mentioned, that don't have any, you know, blockchain, you know, someone leading the blockchain side of things. And I'm glad to see this. Obviously, this is a layer 2. It needs to have that, and it needs to have an individual like this. And I'm sure there's more talent as well as his own. Denise is definitely great, co-founder of Paribus. Guys, like, we're talking about heavyweight people here, you know, Vodafone, some experience there, and, you know, and so on and so forth. Guys, DeFi, moderate risk stack, improved scalability. You can see there's tons of experience here and talent, and so on and so forth. I can go through this all day, and you can see that, you know, from a business perspective, passionate about driving technology advancement, lots of good stuff. We got market research analyst, product researcher, business development. Guys, we got lots of people. So what am I going to say? Thumbs up to the team. I think that's very powerful. I think to see a team that values what the tech is all about makes me feel comfortable. Okay, very, very comfortable. That concludes that, guys. You guys know that I do give you one of those overall, these guys right here, infographics. I'm going to post this all over the socials so that you guys can use this as reference for future. Let's kind of summarize what Lumia is all about. Of course, a summary is always good so that we can refer to this really quickly. Ecosystem, what do we got here? Lots of stuff happening, right? Internal only. I'm only focusing on internal ecosystem right now. They don't have much going on from a you know, other projects being built on the L2 or anything like that, but I'm expecting good things. So 10 out of 10 there. Internal Lumia stream, hyper hub, data availability committee, node network, the DAO. This is a lot what they got going on already. The utility, gas, governance, node staking, liquidity provisions, access to premium features. 10 out of 10 right there. Nothing else you can ask for an L2. The roadmap, clear roadmap. Staking for RWAs are coming around the corner. Aglair, Passport, Miden integration coming around the corner. ZKML, yield management coming around the corner. And I'm just going to pepper in there the fact that they have a blog that gives you quick updates very frequently about everything that is happening with the roadmap is also very bullish. Okay, so that's really good. Lots of transparency. The team is docs, completely docs, good talent and experience everywhere. More detail on some of the experience would be good, as you can notice, especially some of the heavyweights and some of their accomplishments, but I still give it 10 out of 10 because there's tons of good stuff there. And I'm just being picky because I think there's more, and I think maybe their LinkedIn accounts might need an update, and it'll just push them to the next level. Because really, I like the team. I think it's good. Socials, X followers, tons. They're doing good. Almost half a million followers right now. 510,000 followers. 40K followers in the last 30 days. So they're doing good. Up 69%. So they're picking up a bit of traction on socials while the market is looking slumpy, which for me is great. And they're wrapping up the posts, guys. They're up 1,145%, 461 X posts in the last 30 days. That's insanity, guys. Their marketing team is on fire right now, and I think that's very good. Like, you know, that's what we need, especially when the market is slumpy. This is an effort that could keep them at least afloat until we get some more natural hype into this market, because right now it's not that, you know, interesting. Let's put it that way. Tokenomics. Okay, there are some little things that I did mention, but overall, guys, overall is like, if I'm not being super picky, it's a 10 out of 10. It just needs a little bit of transparency, which is easy to obtain, and a bit of, you know, forensics can easily happen on your part if you want to go take a look at all those wallet addresses and all of that. But I'm letting you know that I did a few of them, and they're clean, they're clear, they're just liquidity for exchanges and so on and so forth. But again, do your own due diligence. From what I see, there's nothing to worry about there. Again, don't quote me on this, but this is from what I see. cryptocurrency, and I'm not worried about it. So new tokens issues on mainnet will have 20-year emission. So the new tokens that are being issued on the mainnet will have a 20-year emission. So basically, you don't have to worry about dilution for the next 20 years. It's going to be a slow, gradual unlock, and those unlocks are split into two parts, as I mentioned. Rewards and for community, and still those rewards are either governed by the DAO, or they're going to be slow emitted into the market in a direct relationship to the success of the chain itself as rewards. This is the beauty about emitting through rewards. So all other tokens will be distributed in forms of rewards, which is great. New tokens allocation is 50-50 reward and DAO. We talked about that already. So I am clean and clear about this. It's not bad. It has everything that you kind of are looking for, a mixture of VC power, because we need a little bit of that, plus a mixture of fair launch type of deal where we are seeing a proof of work type of mechanism where basically the node providers are going to get rewarded for securing the network. This is great. This is what you want, a good balance. Relationship, the graph, Polygon, we can see that there's a lot of integrations between the relationship and their tech stacks, right? So their tech stack is full on loaded, but then again, they're because of that, they have relationship. The graph is basically a data aggregator, which is great. Polygon and Gateway FM, guys, they're working on integrations and different, tech integrations with Gateway FM. As I mentioned before, there was a good little partnership they got going on. Waves Protocol, Gelato contract automation, and Send Group for the Lumia towers. Right now, that's their actual use case to actually show people how the tokenization of a building can actually be put into play. And that would be a great opportunity to show individuals the actual technology in the works. So that's pretty good. I kind of like that. And I like that there's a lot of publicity about it right now on their socials, and they're pushing that. Now, and I give it a 10 out of 10, guys. I couldn't find anything really. How much more effort can these guys put in? The only thing, and again, 50-50, because this could also be easily a 10 out of 10. They're listed on major exchanges, Binance. I couldn't confirm if they're listed on Coinbase. I'm not on Coinbase itself, but nonetheless, I don't see it listed on the aggregators like CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko. So it's either in the works or it's coming soon. But regardless, guys, at the end of the day, I should have put this 10 out of 10. This project is solid. There's nothing really that I can find that is a real red flag or something of issue. It hits all the marks. Just keep in mind, 46% of the circulating supply is already in emissions, but we already confirmed that the rest of it is going to be slowly emitted over the next 20 years. And because of that, I don't think we have to worry too much. And we talked about how that's going to be basically emitted and all of that kind of stuff. So do your research and obviously come up with your own conclusions. But I feel like there's nothing really to worry about. Now, could we see, Lumia come down in a bear market? 100%, guys. All projects come down in the bear market. So if you're bullish right now, just be prepared, take a bit of profits, enjoy, get back in the bear market, keep it on your watch list, because I think Lumia has a good potential. Remember, its market cap is quite small. We're talking about a $500,000 market cap, which means that it has a lot of upside potential still to catch up with major players. And we're going to talk about that in a second. Okay, so if we talk about it's a L2, basically an L2 on it's EVM compatible. So it's L2 on Ethereum. It's a real world asset cross-chain project. Basically, that's what it is. ORN is a one-to-one swap. If you're looking at its history and you're questioning what ORN is and what it's all about, it transitioned from ORN to Lumia and to specialize in real-world asset and within that narrative, okay, providing a one-stop shop for that narrative, which is great. We know it's a hot one. Website could be simplified a little bit with a certain portion of it. It was just a little bit clunky. I think that some revisions would be helpful for the documentation. Again, we talked about that, a little bit more transparency with the wallets, but I'm being picky here, super picky here, guys. Telegram is active. Discord is active with mods willing to answer questions. That's bullish. Their marketing, guys, is stellar. They're doing great with their marketing. Their Medium, and their X account is on fire, which I appreciate to see a lot of those efforts, especially nowadays. Now, my projection. Again, this is not a target. This is like, okay, let's think out loud here for a second. If Lumia catches up to the major players, I'm not even talking about others because there's others out there. Okay, Ohm is another one. that obviously is interesting. Let's talk about the one that a lot of people are talking about right now, which is Ondo. Okay, if it catches up to Ondo, it's going to do very well. It could easily do a good 100x. It could do very well in this bull run. You know, a $50 projection is very possible here for Lumia. But again, everything needs to align accordingly to a bull run cycle. And a lot of people at this current moment are debating on whether we are in a bull cycle, if we're going to get an altcoin season and all of that. And that is one of the issues that could affect the progress, not only for Lumia, but for altcoins in general. But I can say this, if you're looking for a low cap project that is focusing on real world assets the same way Ondo and many others are focusing on the same narrative, Lumia is the catch-up play. Lumia right now it's possible for it to run up with these heavyweights and in fact attract some of the liquidity that could be geared towards Ondo. Why? Because people look for opportunity, and Ondo, yes, it could do very well. It could do another 5x, something like that. But if Ondo does a 5x, I'm telling you this, Lumia will do much more. And this is the thing. This is why it's a projection. Just if Lumia catches up to Ondo, we're talking about some major gains. Now, I don't know if it's going to happen. I'm not saying that it is, but just to put things in perspective, guys, this project's a 10 out of 10. I would definitely consider it for my portfolio. All right, guys. So I know you're here to talk about charts as well. So let's jump right into the price action. Let's see what's going on with the Lumia chart. And I'm just going to, stress the importance of understanding that the general market at the current moment looks like trash. It's not just Lumia. Let's take a look at this in a little bit more detail. Now, as we look at the Lumia chart, let's get rid of some of these oscillators and just look at what has been happening. We have to understand that Lumia came out hot, in November with the swap, went from, again, Orin to Lumia, which was a very bullish thing. And all of a sudden, quick bull off top and massive retracement. And seeing the price come down like this, is not exclusive to Lumia. We have a lot of good projects at the current moment that look very similar, desperately trying to hold horizontal. Now, a lot of the orange charts don't exist anymore, obviously, because as a token, it doesn't exist anymore. But we can say this, that it's still, in a very good level to consider, DCing from a fundamental perspective. If you believe that Lumia has some good fundamentals, the real reason you should be buying is based on fundamentals, because price wise it looks pretty trashy. You got to admit, the trend is your friend, and the trend right now is to the downside. You can see it's literally falling, right? It's falling right here. Now, you can ask yourself, when is the right opportunity to take some risk? And this is very important. It's all very, subjective, right? It all depends on your strategy. It all depends on how much exposure you have at the market currently. If you're walking into this market right now and you're looking to diversify within the real world asset narrative, Lumia should be on your watch list, right? Not to say that you should be buying, but it should be a project that you should consider, because within the narrative, you want to get into a bit of small caps, even maybe some micro caps, small caps, mid caps, large caps, and you should diversify within that, that risk curve based on market cap, because we know that the smaller caps will provide a lot more growth in your portfolio, especially if the large caps start running and we see the rotation and so on and so forth. So this is part of cycle theory. Traditionally, we see the large caps run first, and then slowly we see that capital flow into the small caps. But when is the right time to start taking that risk? To be honest, right now, I think the best strategy would be to DCA. And to DCA at levels where you start to see confluence in a chart. And when you see this type of price action like this, it's hard to find confluence. So what we're going to do is just do our best. The reality is, at the current moment, we are forming some sort of interesting structure. Okay, and I'm going to call it interesting at the moment. I'm going to keep it thick, this yellow line, for a second, because this is all we really got, guys. We're just, we're just right now have a bit of hopium that this level actually follows through. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because if you look at the chart and you look at the volume that we have right now, and if you kind of see what's happening between this range, you can see that there's volume in this range. So you got to ask yourself, is this sell pressure or buy pressure? Is this volume buyers or sellers? And based on the daily, it doesn't look very clear to me. It looks a little bit more buy pressure. But if we get on to lower time frames, we might be able to see more detail. But before we do that, we got to highlight some of the key areas here, and then we'll move on. We can see that there's a volume gap right here. This volume gap, like a fair volume gap is, or a fair price level. You can see that The level really will allow the price to break right through and get the fair value gap right into this level, which is at about 86 cents, 87 cents. There's not much resistance, right? So we could get a bounce here, get back into this level, and start rising to the upside and break right through that volume gap. You know, fair volume gaps are usually gaps of which we see the price revisit again, and then we might get to this level, and then I would consider maybe seeing a dip and then maybe coming back up, getting some more bullish bids. And obviously I'm just talking out loud here, guys. I don't know where the future is going to go, but I can say is this: if it did this, I wouldn't be surprised, and if it did this, I would be super bullish right here. I would be super bullish the break within the structure, or within the gap. I would be bullish on the back test of this level and spring off this level. I would be buying the dip. I would be buying the dip all throughout this whole area, whether it be on a back test, a break, a bounce, whatever you want to call it. I would be looking for confirmations of a reversal. So there's a lot of possibility that that's the case, given that we are getting some market participation. Okay, before I go dig deeper into lower time frame to see what is happening here, let's take a look at the oscillators to see what's still happening here on the daily with regards to momentum. Momentum is oversold in a very big way, okay, because we're way below the 30% mark right here below this green dotted line. And not only that, guys, not only that are we below, but we've been hanging out below there for a good while. The expansion came in hot. You can see that we're very oversold via expansion. So it's coming to a point where it's like, okay, as we hang out here on the daily, eventually we're going to want to see this thing rise up. So what indication do we have to kind of say, okay, maybe the bulls are now going to get into control? Well, we have to look for divergences. We have to look for market structure pivots. We got to look for indications that, you know, the bears are losing their strength and the bulls are coming in ready to take the ball in their court. Right now is the ideal time to expect that, because in every single way, momentum is completely oversold, and that's usually where the magic happens. Equal to or analogous to is the best opportunity to go short when everything's severely overbought. So we're just basically reset the markets, and then we go like this. And I'm making this very clean and very obviously overly simplified, but you get my point, right? So right now is the time to consider taking a bit of risk, right? So let's erase this artwork and let's see what's going on. The trend oscillator, you can see EMAs are facing down, still kind of in a downtrend. You can see very clearly in a downtrend. The histogram bars are a bit indecisive, choppy. So are the expansions, not really that interesting. There is a bit of divergence being shown right here, and right into here, and not really invalidated, just a little bit, but not really. So we're doing okay with regards to trend oscillator, but not as clear and decisive as I would like. However, guys, you know, risk should be applied with a direct relation to the amount of capital that you're willing to deploy. So in this case, just because the chart is not perfect doesn't mean that you can't deploy any capital. Just don't go all in. You get what I mean? So let's go on lower time frames. Let's see what's going on. Let's go straight to the 4 hour, very typical time frame for a lot of new traders and a lot of retail investors. And I'm here for the retailers, right? We're looking at the 4 hour. The dailies are very good time frames to focus on. Obviously, you can get in lower time frames, but with smaller caps, you know, the volatility is crazy, and you want to really come up with a plan on slightly larger time frames. We can see that the trend is still your friend, still downwards, right? Now, what's interesting here is that we're getting a structure with some volume, as I mentioned. Now, if you look at it, I'm not seeing any signs of major divergence, which means that this could be just a trap. This could be a trap of which, if you look at this top, see, I just want to quickly show you this top and this top. This top is slightly higher, this top is slightly lower, so technically it's downtrending. Just gonna let you know, if you're looking for divergences, you got to exclude the wicks. So this wick right here, exclude it, okay? And I'm gonna make this a bit bigger so you can see it a bit better. Just exclude it. It's slightly downward sloping. Now if you start looking at the momentum, and you can see from the exact same point, you can see that this is upward sloping, okay? That is not a good look, because that is a hidden bearish divergence, okay? So I'm just gonna put that out there. At this current moment, we're seeing sell pressure. We're seeing a bit of pressure to the downside. Volatility, which is the orange line, is pushing down. We do see an EMA cross coming in right now. We do see the purple expansion maybe rolling over in the short term, maybe coming down similar to what happened here. We've been seeing a battle right within the entirety of all this range of indecisiveness and going sideways. So really, I don't trust what's happening right now as a clear indication of a bottom, other than the fact that we have some market participation. Now, if you kind of look at it a little bit more, you can see that this expansion, this red expansion right here, is a lot smaller than this one, but so is the price action. This one came in hot with lots of volume, this one came in with less, so it's almost like respecting. I am not totally convinced. Imagine this being another bear trap where we eventually trap you know, not bear trap, bull trap, where we trap the bulls up into this level, we start moving to the upside, more bulls start looking for the breakout, and then all of a sudden we trapped up all kinds of liquidity right into here and fake out, boom, and then all of a sudden it comes down and all these bears are still holding and holding, and then we trap up more bears, and all of a sudden we just get them all wrecked and come down for another lower low. I would say that the best confirmation right now is to see a clean divergence on the 4-hour at best if you're going to start taking risk, and obviously a divergence or some indication of a structural shift on the daily would be epic. The only problem is that daily structures, structural change, if you kind of look at, you know, previous price action, and it's particularly new projects like this and that are lower cap, there's a lot of volatility, and not only that, it may take some time. We're talking about here 18 bars, which is about 18 days more or less. I would say that we have another maybe 10 days of sideways before we can potentially get a structure like this on the daily where we can see maybe some more support, some more indication that we are ready to reverse. So I would say that, you know, the risk that you're taking right now, you should really allocate the correct amount of capital about the risk. DCA, invalidation of a bullish thesis, is below 52 cents. If it breaks below 52, dip discovery, we're coming down for another low, okay? And that's where the problem is that if this becomes the case where you think that we're going to get a reversal here, and what are you going to do about it if we come down for a lower low and get all these bullish people that decided to think that this was a bull flag or a bullish reversal pattern? What are you going to do if it breaks below and get and it hunts your entries and you're underwater? Are you going to exit on a loss? Are you going to just DCA and accumulate even though we're in a dip discovery, you know, respecting the trend, making lower lows? I would ideally like something like this. Ideally, of course, the market doesn't promise you anything. We could definitely get out of this level with a nice recovery right now and just get going. This is why I'm saying DCA. But what about if we come down, hunt this liquidity, which, you know, market makers love to do. So many people are putting their stop losses here. We come down, hunt that liquidity, get everybody stopped out, then come back in, back test, and then spring. And if you look at it, it would be, you know, shoulder, head, shoulder, and then we start looking at necklines. We start looking for breakouts, and this is the pivot point structure that I would be most interested in seeing. Now, it doesn't have to be an inverse head and shoulders. It could be a cup and handle, an Adam and Eve. It could be even a W. It doesn't really matter, but this is not enough for me to be super bullish of a reversal structure. So what are you going to do? DCA. Again, DCA nice and slow, maybe 10%, buy a small bag, and then wait. As soon as you get more of a confirmation, buy a little bit more. As soon as you get more, so if we come down here and we break back above, buy in more right here as we break in. We get the back test, buy in a little bit more right into here. We break the previous high right into here, you buy a little bit more as a confirmation of a higher high. And then we come to this level, okay, maybe we get rejected, and then you buy a little bit. You get what I mean? So overall, what you're doing is slowly accumulating as we get the confirmations. The confirmations and the confluence should give you confidence of a reversal pattern right here, and obviously a directional change of trend, lower lows and lower highs. We want higher highs and higher lows. We got the volume gap that we can snap right above and consider this an area to watch out for potential resistance and emotion, because this right here, let me just quickly zoom out, was the last zone of the major emotional level right here. Okay, right here. Okay, so expect some people to be very emotional right here, and then maybe take some profit, exit their losses, because they've been holding red all up into here. And if it comes back in here, there's going to be people that are going to be quite salty, holding red bags and be like, I'm out, I'm de-risking, I'm getting out of this, I'm starting again. And they're going to sell, you'll get a reaction, and then you'll have some decision making to do. Does this become a fat cup and handle, rounded bottom, nice retracement, and then we start moving? What does it look like? It looks like possibility. Now, don't look at the time, guys. I know it looks like I'm talking about May. This is just some artwork just to give you an idea of what the market could be thinking as we fall from a bullish perspective, as we create that pivot. From a bearish perspective, guys, if we keep on breaking down through these consolidations like this, and bear flag after, and keep on coming down, guys, we're getting dip discovery, and you got to be careful out there. Okay, so Lumia fundamentally should be accumulated. Price action wise, be careful, because fair value hasn't really been achieved achieved until a great structure or at least a floor price that goes sideways where supply and demand is in a gridlock. Guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor, slap the like button. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join the Discord, guys. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. Guys, if you want to join the live stream tonight at 8 PM EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action, feel free to make any requests, and I'll definitely put them in top priority. Take care, guys. Have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.